In the meantime, let's go back to New York City. Want to get some updates on the case that is unfolding there regarding Sean Diddy Combs.
Man, I ain't gonna lie.
It's nearly impossible to grasp the full extent of the chaos surrounding Sean Diddy Combs right now. Once celebrated as a music mogul and cultural icon, he now finds himself at the center of one of the most shocking scandals in entertainment history. But here's the twist. Just when it seems like the story can't get any darker, new revelations surface, each more disturbing than the last. What exactly is Diddy being accused of, and how far will he go to protect his empire? Let's dive into the latest chapter of a saga that's shaking Hollywood to its core.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment.
Imagine this, a multimillionaire, once at the top of the world, now trapped in a cold, windowless cell, scribbling frantic notes on scraps of paper. That's allegedly been Diddy's reality as he awaits trial, and the contents of those notes have sent shockwaves through courtrooms and newsrooms alike. Reports say authorities raided his cell during a routine sweep and discovered a series of handwritten messages that could unravel his entire defense. These weren't just random scribbles or doodles. They were supposedly detailed instructions. Prosecutors claim these notes outline a plan to dig up dirt on his accusers and silence them for good. It's hard to believe that a man who once ruled the music charts is now reduced to plotting revenge on scraps of paper, all while facing the very real possibility of the destruction of his career and legacy.
So there's a few things going on. First is the privilege issue. The judge will decide whether the documents are privileged or not. If they're not, they're going to go to the government. If the documents are not only not privileged, but they're evidence of witness tampering, then a few things can happen, all of which are bad for Sean Diddy Combs. First, of course, he could face obstruction of justice charges in a superseding indictment.
The notes are said to contain chilling directives, such as pay off witnesses and find everything on the victim. Prosecutors argue this is clear evidence of obstruction, portraying someone attempting to manipulate the case from behind bars. But that's not all. Diddy reportedly made multiple calls to family members, urging them to dig up damaging information on his accusers. One prosecutor even claimed Diddy instructed his relatives to work with individuals outside his legal team to handle certain accusers. What does this reveal? It points to desperation, a man trying to regain control of a situation spiraling wildly out of his reach. And if these allegations are true, it's not just desperation, it's downright sinister.
Exactly. You're just like, it's there. I mean, it's not just there. It's everywhere. My news feed is dominated by it. Fox News, CNN, everyone. There's raids at Diddy.
Diddy's defense team is, of course, pushing back aggressively. They argue that the raid on his cell was a clear violation of attorney-client privilege, claiming that the notes were private and meant for his legal team. His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, has been outspoken, calling the search an egregious overreach and accusing the prosecution of misconduct. Virtually everything in these legal bads relates to discussions he has with his attorneys. Agnifilo said in court, insisting the notes reflect legal strategy, not criminal intent. But here's the million-dollar question. If these notes were merely legal brainstorming, why do they read like a checklist for witness tampering? You don't need a law degree to see how that looks.
At the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, they're legal documents. The government's saying no, on the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
The prosecution isn't buying the privilege argument either. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic made it clear in a recent hearing that paying off a witness and digging up dirt on two different victims is far from a privileged matter. She went on to argue that these notes show a clear pattern of obstruction, with Diddy allegedly trying to influence the case even while behind bars. And that's where it gets even darker. According to Slavic, Diddy's actions aren't just about protecting himself. They're about controlling the narrative and silencing anyone who could expose him. That level of manipulation is hard to fully comprehend.
You think it's over?
I think it's over for him as like a figure in entertainment.
Right. But do you think it's over as him as far as
jail?
like he gets a cell right next to R. Kelly?
I don't think so.
But let's take a step back for a moment. This isn't just about a few scribbled notes or some phone calls to family members. It's part of a much larger story, one that's been unfolding for months, if not years. Diddy's legal troubles began with accusations of exploitation and abuse, but what's emerging now is far more shocking than most could have imagined. The allegations suggest a pattern of systematic manipulation where power and wealth were allegedly wielded to exploit and silence victims. And the more you dig into it, the darker the story becomes.
That's what people were saying, and maybe everybody's a conspiracy theorist now, but that's what people were saying about the Diddy situation. Like when the feds rolled up, with the Hummers and shit, they were like, it wasn't about Diddy, it was about if there were tapes of powerful people there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
They were the ones that called. They're like, I need to protect myself, so go in there with all the things and rip any tapes or any.
One of the most explosive pieces of evidence against Diddy involves a series of recordings reportedly seized during raids on his properties. These aren't just ordinary recordings. They're said to contain damning footage of deeply troubling behavior. According to sources close to the investigation, these tapes were hidden in safes and encrypted drives, indicating that Diddy went to great lengths to keep them concealed. Why? Because if the rumors about their contents are even half true, they could destroy him and potentially implicate others within Hollywood's elite circle.
Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
For years, whispers have circulated about what really took place at Diddy's infamous gatherings. These weren't your typical house parties. They were extravagant, exclusive, and, according to some, deeply unsettling. Former attendees have described them as far from ordinary, with some claiming they witnessed acts that left them shaken. Now, with these tapes reportedly in the hands of investigators, the whispers are evolving into loud, unavoidable questions. What exactly was Diddy hiding, and who else might be implicated?
Rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein-type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
Meanwhile, Diddy's behavior behind bars isn't doing him any favors. In addition to the notes and phone calls, prosecutors claim he's been coordinating with associates to launch a public relations campaign designed to sway public opinion. For example, he allegedly instructed his children to post celebratory videos of him on social media, hoping to craft a more sympathetic narrative. But here's the catch. When you're facing allegations this serious, no amount of carefully curated Instagram posts will change the facts. If anything, it only makes him appear more calculated.
There's people on both sides, right? There's the people on the right that are trying to nail the people that are on the left with this. There's people that are journalists that are trying to nail the people that were involved in this.
This is it, yeah.
And they've managed to keep that list from coming out, which shows you how powerful certain people are. That should show you a lot. That should be terrifying.
Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former partner, has become a central figure in this unfolding drama. Her lawsuit, accusing him of years of exploitation and manipulation, has opened the floodgates for others to come forward. Cassie's bravery in stepping into the spotlight has been widely praised, but it has also made her a target of Diddy's alleged attempts to discredit and intimidate his accusers. Prosecutors claim he is fixated on her, using her as a scapegoat to deflect attention from his own actions, a textbook example of gaslighting. What's striking is how many people seemed to have known, or at least suspected, what was going on, but chose to stay silent. Diddy has surrounded himself with powerful allies, from A-list celebrities to influential business leaders, and, while some have distanced themselves in light of recent allegations, others remained conspicuously quiet. It raises the question, how much did they know, and why didn't they speak up? The entertainment industry has long protected its own, but this case could mark a turning point. The real question now is whether those who once stood by Diddy will continue to do so or finally speak out.
Who's hanging with Diddy?
I mean, everybody hung with Diddy. That's the other tricky thing. Like, Diddy hung out with everybody. And I've spoken to a bunch of people who are like, yo, great dude, like, always there for you, never asked for a single thing.
Till 1 a.m.
And then freak off.
Everybody says, get out of the house.
Yeah.
It's like the gremlins start eating after midnight.
One thing is clear. This isn't just about Diddy. The allegations against him are sending shockwaves through the entire industry, sparking a reckoning that's long overdue. For years, stories of exploitation and abuse were swept under the rug, dismissed as rumors or exaggerated tabloid gossip. But in today's climate, where survivors are finding their voices and demanding accountability, those days are over. While Diddy may be the one facing charges right now, he's not the only one under scrutiny. The real question is, who's next?
If that's part of the indictment, that's somewhat like a blackmail. He was blackmailing people to be in the freak-offs. So that's federal. That could be that's a federal charge. He can't blackmail people to say, yo, listen here, you did it once and you're gonna do it again. That ain't gonna make it with the government or nobody.
For now, Diddy remains in custody, denied bail for the third time due to being deemed a flight risk and a danger to witnesses. As the legal battles rage on, the world watches, waiting to see how this story will unfold. Will justice be served? Will the truth come to light, or will Diddy's wealth and influence once again allow him to escape accountability? One thing is certain, this is far from over. The cracks in Diddy's empire are widening, and it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. When it does, it won't just be Diddy who pays the price. It will be the entire system that enabled him. The saga surrounding Sean Diddy Combs only grows messier as more voices come forward, shedding light on years of alleged abuse, manipulation, and control. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, with each new revelation stinging worse than the last. While Diddy's legal team fights fiercely to discredit the mounting evidence against him, the sheer volume of accusations and lawsuits paints a picture that's impossible to ignore. At the center of it all is Cassie Ventura, the whistleblower who has become both a symbol of courage and a target for Diddy's alleged attempts to silence her.
They probably didn't see these notes, and they never will.
But if you're Diddy, don't you want your notes back?
Yeah.
If you've spent so many hours gathering evidence for your side or, strategy or whatever, for me, I'd be oh no, please don't destroy, please return.
Cassie's lawsuit was the first domino to fall, and her story is both heartbreaking and infuriating. She claims that Diddy didn't just exploit her, but used his wealth and power to keep her under his control for over a decade. This isn't simply a toxic relationship. It's about a man who allegedly wielded his influence to manipulate nearly every aspect of her life, from controlling her finances to dictating who she could speak to. Cassie's allegations paint a chilling portrait of life under Diddy's grip, and while some may try to dismiss it as just another celebrity breakup, the details suggest something much darker.
The impunity about the Illuminati, because I know who you would have to be in order for what I'm saying to bother you, number one.
Right.
Number two, I know your big secret. I know that you're not the Illuminati, I am. So...
One of the most shocking accusations in Cassie's lawsuit is her claim that Diddy orchestrated elaborate schemes to humiliate and intimidate her. At one point, when she tried to distance herself from him, he allegedly retaliated by targeting those close to her. There's even an accusation that Diddy made threats against rapper Kid Cudi, whom Cassie briefly dated during a rough patch in their relationship. Not long after, Cudi's car mysteriously exploded in his driveway. While Diddy's team has denied any involvement, it's reported that Diddy himself has confirmed the chilling incident, stating that it's all true. It's the kind of detail that feels like it's straight out of a Hollywood thriller, but for Cassie, it was her harsh reality.
He tells the stories I saw her go upstairs and these dudes are right on the couch.
Yeah.
And then I go in this room and these guys are
yeah. And pros. Apparently he was getting male gigolos to girls.
Girls?
Yeah, that was one of the rumors, the
male
freak off. So he would
gigolos.
hire the professional to have with the girls, and I think he would watch
The alleged abuse Cassie endured wasn't just emotional, it was physical as well. In one particularly disturbing incident, described in her lawsuit, Cassie claims that Diddy struck her so violently that she bled, then locked her in a hotel room to prevent anyone from seeing her injuries. This wasn't an isolated event. Cassie describes a troubling pattern of violence that left her living in constant fear, with Diddy's staff allegedly complicit in covering up his actions. While Cassie eventually found the courage to escape, the scars, both physical and emotional, are something she says she'll carry for the rest of her life. Since filing her lawsuit, Cassie has faced relentless scrutiny and backlash, but she hasn't backed down. Her decision to speak out has inspired others to come forward, creating a domino effect that's exposing what some are calling one of the biggest scandals in the entertainment industry. At least 4 additional lawsuits have been filed against Diddy in recent weeks, each one adding weight to the growing list of allegations. These aren't just anonymous claims. Real people, some of whom were once part of Diddy's inner circle, are putting their names and faces on the line to hold him accountable.
Diddy, if you're just joining us here, was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York tonight. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him.
One of the most striking aspects of these lawsuits is how similar the stories are. While each victim's experience is unique, there's a common thread of manipulation, control, and intimidation. It's as if Diddy operated within a carefully crafted system designed to keep his victims silent and compliant. And it wasn't just women who were allegedly targeted. There are also claims that men were subjected to coercion and humiliation, further complicating the narrative. This isn't just about one man's alleged actions. It's about a culture of silence and complicity that allowed it to persist for years.
Responsibility for what he did as an individual. Sean is the one who pulled that gun out. Sean is the one who shot. So he has to take responsibility for that. He put that gun back in it.
What's even more unsettling is the role Diddy's wealth and influence may have played in enabling this behavior for decades. He was seen as untouchable, a titan of the music industry whose success made him immune to accountability. He hosted lavish parties attended by the biggest names in Hollywood, organized charity events that painted him as a philanthropist, and cultivated an image of success that many admired. But behind the scenes, according to these allegations, was a man who used his power not to uplift others, but to control and exploit them.
And that has nothing to do with him having this baby or him having this side girl for almost 15 years.
The parties, once seen as glamorous and exclusive, have become a focal point of the investigation. Former attendees now describe them as chaotic and deeply disturbing. Witnesses claim these gatherings often descended into something much darker, with some alleging they were pressured into situations they did not consent to. While Diddy's team has dismissed these accounts as baseless rumors, the sheer number of people coming forward suggests there's more to these stories than meets the eye.
Charges are. I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel. He is currently being processed. I heard from his attorney they are still maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to.
One former attendee, Tanya Wallace, has come forward to describe what she says she witnessed at one of Diddy's infamous events. According to her, the atmosphere was anything but celebratory. She recalls moments that left her deeply uncomfortable, including seeing individuals who appeared far too young to be at such a gathering. While Wallace has faced skepticism, her account aligns with others who have shared similar experiences. If these allegations are true, it raises troubling questions about how such behavior was allowed to persist for so long, and who else might have been involved. The fact that so many high-profile names have been linked to Diddy's parties only adds another layer of intrigue to this unfolding saga. Over the years, his events attracted a who's who of Hollywood, from actors and musicians to politicians and business moguls. While many of these individuals likely had no knowledge of the darker side of these gatherings, their association with Diddy has come under intense scrutiny. Some have even gone so far as to delete old photos and social media posts in an attempt to distance themselves from the controversy. It's a stark reminder of how quickly public perception can shift, especially when new information emerges.
That's it. If it is privilege, of course they won't. But if it really is what the prosecution says, that has nothing to do with the case, or even worse, it's actually evidence of witness tampering, because we all know the attorney-client privilege, there's a crime fraud exception. You can't use your lawyer to perpetuate a future or continuing fraud or crime. So if the documents are what the government says they are, they're going to get them again. And again, it's just going to be a matter of days, because I don't.
But let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. The focus here isn't just on what transpired at these parties. It's about the victims who are finally finding their voices after years of silence. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of this case is how many people felt they had no choice but to remain quiet, whether out of fear, shame, or the belief that no one would believe them. These individuals suffered in isolation, enduring unspeakable trauma. Now, thanks in part to Cassie's bravery, they are stepping forward and demanding justice. Diddy's response has been predictably defensive. His legal team has denied the allegations, calling them exaggerated or false. In a public statement, Diddy insisted that he is being unfairly targeted, claiming, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation, and my legacy." But for many, these denials ring hollow. If the accusations were truly baseless, why have so many people come forward with eerily similar stories? And why did Diddy settle Cassie's lawsuit so quickly after it was filed? These are questions that remain unanswered, and they're not going away anytime soon.
He doesn't kind of buy what the prosecution's selling. He thinks they've looked at the notes.
Yeah.
He thinks that they're cheating.
I mean, I would think that too.
But apparently, what happened is commonplace.
As the legal battles continue, one thing is clear. This case is about more than just Sean Combs. It's about holding powerful individuals accountable, no matter how untouchable they may seem. It's about fostering a culture where survivors feel safe coming forward, knowing they will be believed and supported. It's also about dismantling the systems that allow this kind of behavior to go unchecked. Of course, the road to justice is never easy. Each step forward is met with setbacks and challenges. Diddy's legal team is doing everything in its power to discredit the allegations and protect his reputation. While the evidence against him appears overwhelming, the outcome of these cases remains uncertain. But one thing is for sure, the world is watching. And no matter what happens, this case will have lasting repercussions, not just for Diddy, but for the entire entertainment industry.
Like I said before, they said that 2,300 people reached out to the law firm. And out of the 2,300 people, I guess they decided to go with just a little over 100, which seems like it's they just put out the number and everybody's calling to see if they can get a check.
It's insane. It's insane. Now, again, he did say that nothing has been filed yet because he says he wants to make sure that they do their due diligence and get this right.
So what's next? Will more victims come forward? Will the tapes reportedly seized by investigators reveal the full extent of Diddy's actions? And perhaps most importantly, will justice finally be served? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, this story is far from over. As more details emerge, the spotlight on Diddy and the industry that enabled him will only continue to intensify. While the road ahead may be long, the courage of those who have already spoken out provides a glimmer of hope that change is not only possible, but inevitable. So, what do you think? Is Diddy's downfall inevitable, or will he manage to evade justice once again? And who else in Hollywood might be implicated as more evidence comes to light? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious. Goodbye.